While I was waiting for the red layer to dry, I chose a couple of colors that were really springy to me. I've got a bright pink, candy pink, got a aqua blue, it's called Key West Blue Turquoise. I like that one. And I've got a light yellow. It's a really bright yellow. Those feel really springy to me, so I'm going to keep with those. They're not really pastels though. They're like bright, light colors. We're going to do the skin tone glaze now. And if you started using the 8 steps to perfectly paint in skin tones, you see I went out of order with those steps for beginners. I just simplified one step so that beginners don't have to worry about doing 2 skin tone layers. I'm gonna see if it works sideways like this so I don't have to hold it. Let's see if I can't just put it like that. Perfecto. Okay, we're gonna just glaze. You see, this palette is a mess now, but my skin tone is a heavy cream consistency. It's not quite inky. It's not that see-through. It still sits. It doesn't just drip off of my paintbrush. I'm using the porcelain doll, not the French vanilla, in case you were wondering, because that is my go-to color unless I'm using Golden's Titan Buff, which is almost the same color. We're going to go over to the canvas and I'm going to start painting. I like to start in the lightest spots, and if you see, the whitest whites are actually kind of reserved as the paper, so the chin and the nose and the top of the lips, a little bit of the brow bone up here are all reserved out of shadow. Let's see if we can, I'm adjusting the camera, sorry if it's really shaky. Or you can go ahead and just get started. And I'm using the number 12 filbert. It is my favorite brush, so you'll see me use it in every video. I like to start out just gently brushing everything on in an even layer. I'm just getting all the paint out of the brush so that I can spread it all around. Loading my brush. I don't know, can you see that really well? I'm just trying to get my paint on the skin tone. Color. If you put on foundation at all, you know that the way you stroke on your foundation is important too. It's the same with the face. I try to actually follow the shape of the face that I want. I don't go in up or down. You know, I don't do horizontal or vertical lines. I try to follow the contours of the face. Like that. And down here like this. It helps the face not look weird. I'm going to finish up here. grab this. For some reason I saved the nose for last. You don't have to do that. If you want to start with the nose, start with the nose. I'm gonna get my entire eye in. Now, this might seem odd to you guys at home if you haven't messed with this style of painting before, if you haven't practiced or anything. It might feel like you're covering up all your hard work. I promise you that you are not covering up all your hard work. You are just making it easier on yourself instead of trying to blend 5,000 different colors for the shade on her nose and the shade under her eyes and the color of her chin, and trying to blend those colors together to make your shadows. You're just layering them on top of each other now. It's called optical color blending, which means your eye actually does the color mixing for you instead of you doing it on the palette or the canvas. I'm just easing into the nose here. The skin tone and all the other steps are steps, but you can do more than one layer per step if that's how you feel that you want to do your person. If you're in the burnt sienna layer and you want to put 3 layers of burnt sienna and really take your time and shade and model out the face, you can do that. I'm trying to keep this simple for beginners so I don't feel like I'm overwhelming anyone. But also know that if you're watching this video, you can take notes and ask me questions live when we do the live demos. I'm going to go ahead and blend into our whole nose. I'm going to blend lightly into the lips. I am doing this blending part just because I want all of the parts of the face to look like they belong together. You'll hear me say stuff like that a lot. From the angle of the camera, I'm noticing that it looks a lot lighter than it is because of the reflection of the wet paint. If that helps you see a little better what's actually going on. And as the paint dries, it's going to be a little less bright. And you'll be able to see all the work we just did in the shadows and stuff. And it looks like I covered up a lot of the nose, but the shadows and the modeling are there. And that's what we want, because we're just painting the skin tone right now. We're not painting each individual part of the face just yet. I can go back in and detail out the nose. If you're a beginner, you might not want to do that. You might say, well, you know what, this looks fantastic the way it is, and I'm not going to worry about going crazy making the nose look super realistic. Or you could be like me and be like, I do not like a realistic looking nose on my person. I would rather have, like a little whimsical primitive nose. So I'm gonna leave it alone. It's up to you. Just blending out colors where it looks a little too pink over here. You remember the mistake I did, the little oops with the burnt umber? Can't even tell. And blend all those colors in together. And then we're gonna go down to the neck and to the bust. And we're just gonna add in. Oh, my brush got dry. You see that's all dry. I'm gonna get some water and some extender on it. I want her skin to be really creamy. If you get done this part too, you decide that you want to adjust her skin tone, you can, but it's always easier to go lighter than it is to go darker. But you can take this layer, look at it, and say, you know what? I want my girl to be tanner than this. And if that's how you feel, you just start back with your burnt sienna layer. And you adjust, you put the burnt sienna back on so that you're not flattening out her skin tone. You put the red back in, and then you change the color of her skin tone. You don't want to just paint a darker skin tone on top of a lighter skin tone, because it's going to come out ashy and chalky and weird. You're not going to be happy with it. You are going to look at it and say, well, that looks off. I don't like that. So I don't recommend you worrying about the skin tone color as a beginner being super duper perfect. Kind of start with the idea in mind that you're going to do a lighter skin tone or a darker skin tone and work from there. We're going to go through and I'm going to add my highlight now, and I like to add the highlight wet on wet so that it blends. My highlight is going to be done with a mix of white and my skin tone. Super duper easy. Just going to squirt a bit of white onto my paper palette. Please use something other than this. This looks like a mess. I'm going to get some extender in that. I'm going to blend them all together so that it's nice and runny. And then I'm going to mix it with the other color I have of skin tone, so that my color is darker than white, but just a little lighter. I don't know if you can see that, than the skin tone I already painted down there. And there's just a couple of spots that get the highlight. I like to go under the eyes and around the nose and above the lips, down right here. And this step here, down here, where we're doing the bottom of the cheeks and lips, if you want your girl to look older, don't put this in. This is a really youthful look. Teeny bit on her chin. I also put it on the clavicle, but you can't really see the clavicle down here. It's actually going to be like right in here. So we're not going to worry about her collarbone right now. Highlight the nose. The brow bone just a little. And the forehead. And then we are going to blend it all in. I like to do the inner corners of the eyes too, because it makes them look more awake, brighter and more alert. And do this side. This helps blend all the skin tone and red together. And I like to edge the chin and the jawline with just a little of a highlight too. It makes her, the lightest part, pop off of the darkest part. It makes her chin and her face look more 3D. Okay. So I'm going to dry off my brush, and then I'm going to clean it. So I want a nice clean brush, and I'm just going to use a, again, mostly dry, and I'm just going to blend. If you're doing darker skin tone, then the camel is the color that you want to highlight with. This would make it look really, really ashy and shiny. You don't want to add white to a really rich brown. It makes stuff look chalky. I like to add a lighter brown. And I don't want to sit and mess with trying to figure out how to blend the perfect shade of brown, because you'd be just sitting there with 1,000 different mixes of brown till you find the perfect one. Just let the store do that for you. I'm picking up the painting to get some of the glare off of it. You can see me in my camera here. Let me show you the effects and pan out some. If you look and you see that her face is looking better than her neck and shoulders, you can go in and add some more skin tone or highlight into her neck. There. Her clavicle. And just blend it in. That's where we are right now. We haven't done the eyes. With the eyes, we're going to do the eyes and the eyebrows, so she won't look so surprised. She kind of looks like she saw a ghost because she doesn't have any eyebrows. And you see where I accidentally put my finger in burnt umber and smeared it across. It sucks when that happens, but don't worry too much about it. You can correct it. It looks like my layers are okay. I'm just blending the eyes a little bit more. I like my eyes to be soft. I don't like having hard edges in my painting on my eyes. You see that? A lot of the skin tone glaze made those shadows look way better than I would ever be able to make those shadows look. They look way more natural than I could possibly make them look by blending my own color and painting it on top. And you see, her face looks mostly done. The next layers we have to do are the whitest whites and the darkest darks. But I'm going to let her dry a little so that my colors don't bleed together so much. So I'll see you in about 20 minutes. And then we'll get to the hair in the background.